Hi, this is Robin the Generous Stitcher, and wow, my voice sounds much better than I expected. It was not that good this morning. um, so, anyway, this potentially could be a very long video. I am going to try to film in little like snippets and then put it together later. So I have a lot of stuff to go over to talk about. As you know, I was at PNWSS, and so I have my PNWSS recap, which I know several people have already done theirs. Carolyn Zook, for one, did a great recap of PNWSS, and so some of the stuff she said I'm not sure I could add to in terms of the project. That reminds me, there was something I wanted to grab off the wall to show with the project. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about my stats for last month and some of the stats I'm for stitching for this month. I'm going to talk about the start I did this week, or let's see, this week is now Tuesday. I guess it was last week, Friday of last week. I've gone to 2 retreats in the last 2 weekends, which when you hear what else has been going on, you're going to say she is insane. And show a whip. I'm not going to show my regular whips. And I talked the last time I made a video, I talked about showing the design process of making a special bib. For reasons which will become clear, I made a little progress on it, and I took a picture of like some of the planning, but I'm not ready to discuss that this time. Next video, or the one after that. I want to get this thing stitched, but I've got a hold up. And then I got, while I was at PNWSS, I think it was on Friday, when I was the first day of PNWSS, I got a alert on my phone that I got a package from Mystic Fabrics. That was my fabric of the month, and a lovely color, and I've paired it, so I'm going to show the fabric pair. I have yeah, so whips, and there's also some project that I'm going to discuss in the whip part of the discussion, and I'm going to show some retail therapy and exclusives that I picked up, and I'm kind of looking at one pile, and then I'm going to show what I bought at the Acorns and Threads during the PNWSS special shop, and I'm going to show the small that I did, well, a picture of it, because I've already given it away, and it was going to somebody on the Zoom of PNWSS, so it's being shipped to them. I even offered Janine some money to help with that, but she was like, "Don't worry about it, Robin," you know. But a little story about the Smalls Exchange, and show you what I got in the Smalls Exchange, and show you what I got off the free table at PNWSS, and then I have like a mound of gifts. There was so much gift giving. I mean, I think this is the 3rd year I've been to PNWSS, and each time it seems like the gifts are exponentially increasing. And part of it is that I know a lot of people now I didn't before. So everybody's that are like, I have more stitchy friends. So more stitchy friends means they're going to give you more stuff because they like you. And I was giving more stuff, and I'll tell you the story about the table gift that I made for PNWSS, and then like how it got made, and some things that my spouse said about that. And let's see, yeah, so I have a whole shopping bag full of gifts, and I will show some of them. I'm not sure I'm gonna show, sorry, I'm tapping again, tapping with my hand on the table, and the phone's jiggling, sorry about that. But yeah, the gifts are just crazy. I mean, any gift is special. I am touched when people give me things at these events, and you know, I had some table gifts for the people that I was sitting with, and then I had a few extras. So then I went around to a few of my special stitchy friends who were doing other things, not sitting with me, and gave some things to them. So anyway, let's get started with the stats for August and September. It is September, look at the calendar, 23. And so August, I had one start. That was, looking at the calendar, that was the Mount Hood bib, which is the one that I'm going to show in the next couple episodes. And there is a 5th Tuesday this month, so I'm debating about doing another video. Depends on how I feel. Then I had one finish, and that was finishing the bottom of the biscornu, the cardinal biscornu. That was last month. And I stitched 24 days last month, 12 of which were social events, stitching with friends, either Zoom or in person. I made 2 floss tubes last month, and I had one fully finished object, which was the biscornu, which if you saw my episode from, let's see, when did I film that? Oh, it would have been on the 26th of August, if you saw, and that would have been my first PNWSS preview preparation video. I believe I showed the biscornu in that video. So yeah, and obviously went to a biscornu finishing class, and then I spent 3 Sundays working on fully finishing my small for the smalls exchange. And so September, I finished the night bib, and I believe I've shown pictures of that because when I did my, I'm looking at my, because I already did a floss tube this month at the beginning of the month, and that's when I showed the night bib, which is what I'm calling it. It's a bib on teal colored terry cloth, and Ada, which I did using the night terrarium motifs from Tiny Modernist. And so PNWSS started on the 12th and ran through the 14th. I actually got a motel room and stayed Thursday night, and Willow's curious of the big shopping bag out by my foot. So I hope you can forgive her crackling and peek and trying to peek in there. So and so far this September, like I said, I've had one finish, which was on September 1st. I've had one start. Because I'd already started the Mount Hood bib last month, and but I started something else, which I'm going to show in a couple minutes, or a minute or two. So let's see. So that's my, just trying to, oh, I have something written here, but I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. I had one fully finished object, which is what I was counting, the PNWSS small, and I'm gonna show some pictures of. I need to look at my other floss tubes to make sure I hadn't put those pictures in there. I think maybe I did. So, all right, and sorry for the fogginess. I have not. I'm recovering from COVID, so that's the reason I might look. I look kind of pale. I mean, in other lights, I looked when I was at the Harvestman Hangout this weekend, and I was looking at myself on camera and going, I look pale as a sheet. I mean, really. I mean, I'm very fair to begin with, but the light, I just looked like ghostly. It was. I didn't think I did feel bad, but anyway, so because I did get COVID at the end of PNWSS, and I left on Sunday morning instead of staying until noon, because I was feeling way too sick, and I was like, I am infectious. I don't know what I've got, and because this is kind of like the season that you can get adenovirus colds, which also cause pink eye, or you can get coronavirus colds, which are a native human coronavirus. We do have them that are evolved for our species. Hey, Willow, she's gonna come up here, I think, and she's sniffing at everything that's forming a barrier. So, so I went to PNWSS. Probably at least a dozen that I know of have got COVID, and I'm now finally, oops, hey Willow. She's saying hi. Hey, get back, or sit down, or perch, that's fine too. So she's just perching right here. She is so happy because, COVID can be lethal for cats. So I did not pet her much. I mean, I kind of back of the hand on her flank, but very, very rarely did I pet her for a week and didn't hold her and snuggle her. And when I started doing that again a day or two ago, she was just like, like, just like the sun shone, And so because I have COVID, and was very concerned about touching the whips that I'm working on, COVID can stick to surfaces. It can possibly remain active. It probably doesn't. And certainly on more natural fabrics like cotton and linen, it could remain longer than on synthetics. At least I recall some of that from 2020, 2021. I haven't followed that end of the research on this. But so because I was working on a baby bib that's going to, a coworker, I'm like, I cannot touch things that out of an abundance of caution, and I'm probably being too paranoid, but hey, I'm a virologist. I worked in vaccine preventable diseases and public health, and my PhD is coronavirus genetics, so I'm gonna be super cautious, much more than most people you would ever meet. And so what I did is I picked up a project that I hadn't planned on starting for months and months. And what I picked up is, I'm gonna grab, Willow, are you gonna let me grab this? So I had one in May, Just Keep Stitching did different bundles of things, and they did a bundle of Val's stitching stuff, kitty calendar patterns for the entire year with the original bead button that goes with it. And so she's trying to get in the project bag. So I said, well, I've got a project bag, I've got all this stuff, and one of the things that I got as a gift is several of the people at our table were destashing. And so and it was funny because the people of our table, we were kind of like reconstituted beach nuts. Almost everybody at the table had sat together at the beach retreat at Cannon Beach with Acorns and Threads in April. And we hadn't quite planned that, but one of the people and her mother, who was supposed to join us at the PNWSS, they got COVID before the retreat, and so they couldn't come. And so Connie and Janet, who were stitchers from the Willamette Valley area where I live, and they were like, hey, can we join you? And we had 2 slots open, and then we also had a new stitcher who he actually did linen for the first time on Saturday. I thought it was going to break him, but you know, he worked on it. And so you know, the group of us are meeting on Discord tonight, but I'm probably not going to do it. So I'd like to ask him, you know, are you going to continue with linen, or, you know, are you getting used to it? Because he'd just done Ada, I think, before. Maybe Lugana, maybe not. And so anyway, Connie had been telling us that she had belonged to a Fabric of the Month club, and oops, I gotta put that back in the box, sweetie. I'm gonna put this back in the bag. Oops, sorry. So she had got a Fabric of the Month club, and this was from Fortnite Fabrics, and this is Picture This Plus. And so these are 3 pieces of Lugana. Sorry for the crackling, or actually I'm not sorry. I don't know why this bugs people, but anyway, Murmur is from Picture This Plus. It's sort of a peachy, light peachy color. Bathy, which is sort of a blue-gray from Fortnite Fabrics. And Quaint, I think that's what that is. Yeah, I think that's what it reads. This is sort of a greenish yellow. And it's Lugana 32 count. So I decided that all of these, you know, I don't have any of the call fors, which I think are all weeks. I have a couple weeks in the stash, but nothing close to being able to do all these different patterns. But I did have a smallish piece of 32 count Lugana, which is in Wild Berry. And so I decided to do, I basically wrote down all the patterns and the months, and then I divvied them up as to 3 of them would be purple, and 3 of them would be Quaint, and 3 of them would be Bathy, and 3 of them would be Murmur. And depending on what the pattern was and the colors. And these are 18 by 27, and the other piece that I had, which is purple, is 13 by 18. These patterns are only like 2.55 inches. Uh-oh, Willow, no. She's finding things to get after. So, sweetheart, no. So, whoop, no, let's get your little head out of the project bag. Put these things back in the project bag and zip it up before more mischief happens. You can see she's right there. So, anyway, so yeah, I divvied up the colors, and I put them all in the project bag that I got from Just Keep Stitching, with a nice note from Pam and Steph. And it also came with a matching fabric thread bed, and then there's a business card for the person who made this, and I will put their information in the description. They may have an Etsy, so I'll make sure to put their information. It's just an adorable project bag with like navy hearts on the inside, and so there was one that was purple. Actually, there was 2 that were purple. This one's a darker purple, and the other one was, the Halloween one was a very light purple. And so I took my Wild Berry, and I looked at the different, they used Weeks Dye Works, but they also had a DMC and an anchor conversion. These patterns are from 2010, so they're may not be available. So I came home and gave my spouse COVID. Not the first thing I've given him, unfortunately, but so anyway, this is April. It's April showers. So there is a gray cat in rain gear, and there's raindrops. And so I basically looked at what was in here and thought, oh, I've got maybe 1 or 2 of these Weeks Dye Works colors in my stash. they're like kitted up with stuff, and I'm infectious, and I'm not going to Acorns and Threads, and I'm not going to go to Michael's for flosses. So I basically got into my stash and picked some Gentle Arts and some Classic Colorworks and some Weeks Dye Works. It called for saffron, and I have saffron for another pattern, but I didn't really think the saffron was that vibrant compared to saffron when you see it as a spice. So I picked Marigold, which is the yellow for the rain gear. And then I didn't have the blue was Morris blue, was for the raindrops. I didn't have that, but I have Robin Eggs blue. So yeah, so I just picked, there's some green. Oh, I didn't like the eye color, so I got this nice green color for the cat's eyes. This is Pea Pod, which I actually think I bought this for kitting up something else. So when I finish with it, I'm gonna need to figure out where it goes. Oh, and then I had Blackboard for a gray fabric. Now she's getting really interested in the flosses. So anyway, one of the things that's sort of another tie-in with the beach retreat, yes, I love you too, sweetheart, is that my friend Lisa picked this up off the free table at the beach retreat, and then after a few months she decided she really didn't like it, this little project bag, and I thought it was perfect for this very small, whoops, I'll make sure my needle doesn't go flying, because Willow's right here to catch it if it does. And so anyway, got this little piece, and so I am stitching on this until I'm symptom free, and maybe a few days beyond that, because it's very slowly going away. At this point, I've been sick for 10 days. Yeah, let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 11 days. So, and this is something that it may not be that short. And I have many chronic conditions, including COPD and asthma. And I could tell that this was really hitting my lungs. And so while I was sitting in my recliner trying to breathe, I would bring my CPAP out from the bedroom and I would strap it to my face so I'd get forced air into my lungs. And I only had one day that I had a fever, and that was the day we had a virtual visit with the nurse and got Paxlovid for me. But I never had brain fog, really. I was kind of out of it the day I had the fever, but I had a fever. It was just like, okay, I'm sick, I have a fever. It wasn't anything different. I've had actual colds where I've had sort of fogginess with your brain, and I didn't feel any of that this time. And I think that with this current strain, you don't necessarily have that like you've had in the past. It's really got into my sinuses and inflamed all my sinuses, and so I had the dental surgery, and I was supposed to get the stitches out last Friday, and it didn't happen because I was infectious. And so hopefully in 3 days, if I can test negative, I can go to the dentist and get these stitches finally taken out. And then we'll have to reschedule all the other final procedure where they're going to remove the temporary crown and then put on the real one. And having lived with it this long instead of living with it for only a week or two, I've got some feedback for the dentist so we can get a better fitting crown for the permanent one, because this one is not fitting very well. So I'm having a lot of TMJ issues, and I'm you know, and of course my sinuses are all inflamed, so all of my teeth hurt. and it took, you know, it took me 8 or 9 days to finally get past all the dental pain. And that was when I started having COVID, and it was like, you know, the COVID was nothing compared to the dental pain. And then having the dental pain, having the CPAP press on the dental stuff. Ugh. So I think my supervisor said, so you had like complete misery, you know? I'm like, yeah. I don't recommend having dental surgery and then going out and getting COVID. It's just not pleasant. So, all right, so the next part is the fabric pair, and I should look at this. I'm going to do the fabric pair, and then I'm going to stop this one, and then restart it, do something else. Ooh, good, she went underneath the camera. I was worried. So anyway, while I was at PNWSS, I got a text message saying that, hey, your fabric came in the post office. And in this light, it's looking kind of more purple than way more purple than it does in bright sunlight. In bright sunlight, it looks way more gray. This is called wolfsbane, which is really, hey Willow, no. Hey, no. There's stuff in here. You can't dig it out, honey. So, anyway, so I got this and I was like, okay, what do I pair it with? And so I dug into my my hard drive stash, and I have a bunch of witchy stitcher patterns on the hard drive. So I was looking at this, and I had the spouse give his seal of approval because he has a really good eye for color too. And so this is Frosted Pumpkin Cottage, which is Halloween and Christmas. And so we thought that this wolfsbane would look really good as the fabric, and then and this is a pretty good sized piece. I mean, it's a good sized piece of fabric because, you know, I get 18 by 27, and this is all DMCs. I have noticed on some of her other patterns she had some collaborations with Cottage Garden Threads, and I do have some of those collaboration packs, I know, for one of her pieces. So I was like looking at this going, are there any that I could use Cottage Garden Threads instead, but maybe not. I'd have to think about it. So probably not. Anyway, so this is for in the future, probably next Halloween when I finally start it. And then before I went to PNWSS, do I have this? Oops, I want to show that. Before I went to PNWSS, I had purchased this, and as a bit of retail therapy, when I got home, I got the pattern for this flamingo. The flamingo is from Scarlet Sky. Scarlet Sky Designs, and this is from Pedal Pusher. It's called Party Crashers, and I have one other retail therapy, which I thought I had put. It's probably in the sack, so I will get to it in a while. So, okay. All right, Max. He's up now. Okay. So I'm going to stop it here and get to another one. Okay, I'm back. Maybe I should take a sip of water. So there was one other pairing I did with fabric, and I'm gonna need to show. I can't find. This is so strange. I printed out printed out the first page of the pattern. And so last time I showed Artemis, which is a purple with some lighter modeling. This is 32 count Lugana from Atomic Ranch. And I got this at last year's Pinwis, and I decided to pair it with Snack-a-Lantern by Boomerang Stitches, who was at Pinwis. And I was talking to her, you know, she and somebody else at the table, we were all talking about oath salves, and, you know, Tiny Modernist does some salves that I've purchased, and all the wonderful salves that Lola Crow does. If you were at the Harvest Moon Hangout, you might have heard her presentation and saw some of her work. I've been like a major fangirl of hers, and she's local. I've met her, stitched with her at least once or twice, and so lovely person. And so anyway, so I was like talking to Boomerang Stitches about this fabric and pairing it with her, and I had just purchased, like the night before, 2 days before I went to Pinwis, I had purchased Snack-a-Lantern, which I will show a picture of because I can't find my printout. And so I'll just make a screen capture of the first page and put that up here. So anyway, I didn't, somebody said, oh, Boomerang Stitches, she must be up from Australia. She's like, no, she's not. But anyway, so I was talking to her about these stitch-alongs, and, you know, so many people buy stitch-alongs and then they do start-alongs. Well, without not intending to, I've coined a new cross-stitch acronym. It's a buy-along, because I don't start stitch-alongs, but I do buy-along with everyone else. So I have all these different, I think I may have every Sal, Lola Crow. There might be one that's like a ballroom I don't have. I don't remember now. I'll have to look at my stash. But yeah, I do a buy along. So I'm not sure how we can, if we're going to do, that's going to be a BAL, you know, or a BUYAL, like bye y'all. So anyway, so yeah, so I said, yeah, I don't do start-alongs, I do buy-alongs. And she thought that was so great. She called somebody else over and said, listen to what Robin does. And I said it, and they just got, their eyes got really big, and they were like, you need to use this as an acronym. And so, I mean, you know, so add it to the cross-stitch lexicon. I never intended to, you know, do that, but it was pretty funny. So anyway, so yeah, there was a ton of people, like other designers and floss tubers and tons of stitchy friends at there was one woman I think I'd stitched with once or twice at the shop, and she was like, oh, Robin, hey, and then I'm like, I do know her, I know her face. And she's like, I've stitched with you. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know. And she's like, but it was only one time. So, but anyway, and so, yeah, Pinwis was like, to quote, I think quote Janine, she said this was epic. And other people said that too. This was an amazing Pinwis. And I wish I didn't have all that chronic dental pain at the time, because I was sort of half out of it. And then, you know, getting sick while I was there too. But so our table was gender non-conforming, and there, non-conforming, and Pinwist 2025. So my friend made these scissor fobs for all of us, and I put mine on my name tag so I could have it like this as I'm walking around. And then we, of course, got another new charm, this little bird. And so I think I can fit the rest of 26 right here. Maybe not. I'm going to a class, I'm going to the mini retreat, and I'm going to the beach retreat. That might take up that piece. And then Pinwist might have to start, Pinwist 26 may have to start on the other side. So anyway, getting kind of full, but you know, Janine, hers is completely full, and then she has like little strings or fabrics that come down that she's sewed other things onto. So yeah. So this is the Acorns and Threads retreat official name tag, and so I keep the binder clip on mine, and somewhere in my bag of gifts is a long, strong, like magnet. And so this woman came up to me and said, here's this magnet. I'm not sure if she saw the binder clip or why she decided I needed it, because I mean the binder clip doesn't hear it really well, but I was like, it was lovely that this person gave me such a nice gift of this expensive magnet, and then and told me how to put it on the back, you know, put it, you know, attach it to the back, and then put a piece of black fabric over it, and she gave me all the instructions. So perhaps in the future I will do something like that. So all right, so we talked about this, and the other part of the retreat is, okay, and I'm going to show some other pictures now. The small I made, which was Feathered Friends, which is a collaboration, and the piece that I did was for May. It was a monthly calendar series on a birdhouse from Paisleys and Polka Dots, and my friend Lisa, who made the scissor fob, and me, we spent 3 Sundays and literally blood, sweat, and tears to get that thing done. And then finally we were to the point of about crying because we couldn't get the last 2 pieces to come together. And I texted somebody who'd done it before, and she's like, oh yeah, I had to stand the heck out of that thing. And so I did that, and I bought my own rubber mallet, pounded on it. I was like, oh, that's a good thing to have, you know, like, so, but anyway, my birdhouse was one of the most popular of the smalls, and it got stolen. They did the stealing, and they did it in a way that it was not so tedious and not so much wandering around and looking and stuff, and where they basically had everyone open the gift and then show it to the people on Zoom, and then put it on a table with a tag so that they knew who had picked that. And so then when people went up to get a small, they looked over the table of what had been picked already, and then if they wanted to, they could then go get a gift bag. And there was only one time I kind of regretted not taking something off the table, because there was a couple of really nice pieces, and they would have gotten stolen again from me. And so, you know, I picked something that was really nice. It was a scissor fob with some scissors, and I think one of my table mates had done it, and it was really nice, so it got stolen. So I went up and I picked something else, and you know, they were all really nice things, and you know, but the thing is one of my rules, boy, that's shiny, it's making like reflections sort of across the room, is that I pick the pretty gift bags. because we got to keep the gift bags. And I can recycle these because I do not wrap. And, you know, I would rather recycle a gift bag, you know, use this for next year's smalls. And I know the thing I think I showed you on my last floss tube, what I'm going to do for next year's Pinwhist, which is, but I think I showed you that design last time. So anyway, I have like at least three gift bags that, you know, from picking stuff. And that was a good deal because everything I picked got stolen. And finally, I was talking to Pirate Robin, the floss dyer. You know, we were talking about, I was telling her about a project that I want to do and talking about the challenges of the colors that I wanted to use in it. And so she's talking to me, and I saw a floss that she had in front of her. I'm like, oh, that would be good for the first half of this, or the first third of this project. And so I'm definitely going to go buy some of her flosses. I already have done that because I love her stuff. But it was really nice to meet her, and then talking to her about one of my design ideas and getting, you know, encouragement. And after listening to Lola Crow, I think I need to work on this faster so I can. People request the same thing that she does, and she hasn't done it yet. So I'm like, okay, maybe now I have 2 years to get this thing designed and stitched. And her design process is similar to mine. And she's a former biochemist research. I'm a former virologist, researcher, and public health person. So we kind of have the scientific brain, research brain. So, okay. So what I ended up getting, that's the small, which is the Pinwhist logo on this beautiful project bag. And Carolyn Zook sat with the woman who did these, who is Megan. And thank you, Megan. I loved it. And I knew exactly what was going to go in it because I had the pattern and the fabric in one of those cheap Amazon plastic project bags that are so affordable, but, you know, but I'd rather have the squirrel pattern in the squirrel project bag with the fabric. So, and this is going to be a DMC, so I don't need to cut up the floss yet. But anyway, I have this on my start list for early this spring. Probably the month my friend has her birthday, which it won't be done by her birthday or, you know, that month. But she knows that I've told her that she's a gift priority, that I've put her off too long. So, all right, so that was smalls, and like I say, I picked 4 times, and I ended up with a project bag. The project bag had been sitting on the table at that point, and it was at the very end of the smalls exchange, and so I was very happy that when I picked that I was going to get to keep it. So another thing I picked off the free table, and I think this was something that I had a chance to pick up a couple weeks before Pinwhist at one of our Salem Mary Stitchers, but no one picked this one, and so nobody picked it off the table. So I was like, okay, second time in a row I've got a chance to get it, I better get it. And this used to be my friend Tammy Woodland Stitching Studio. And so another thing I got off the free table was this little bag of mushroom toadstool buttons. And there's like about 10 in here, 9 or 10 in here. And gosh, it might even say, no, well, it does say, but there's not 30 pieces in here anymore. Somebody's used some of them. So I'm not into mushrooms. Amazing life form, amazing organism, but stitching them is not something I'm really into. But I thought this might be something that would be cool for a table gift for my table people, either at the beach retreat or at next year's PNWSS. So that was the way I was thinking. And then the thing that I like, one of the things I like best about PNWSS is we have a shopping time. And one of the, they have a special shopping time. Last year I went before, but this year I went just about an hour before the special shopping time. And the line was crazy. And so during the shopping time, I don't normally, unless there's patterns from a designer I don't have that's actually there. I mean, I have Krista West off Leah Folk Embroidery, her book, and I have some of her bit kits. I mean, I have some of her stuff. Artsy Housewife, I have some of her patterns. And so I didn't feel like I needed to get more. But the one thing I do get is they have a ton of fabric, especially Atomic Ranch, that I love Atomic Ranch. So I got this. This is actually, and it's looking kind of, it's a lot more green, like green with a navy model. And so I don't think you can see that you can see it a little bit. So this is, it doesn't even have, it just has a lot number. It doesn't have a name. And so this is 36 count linen, which is one of my favorites. And then I showed the Atomic Ranch first, Into the Woods. And so Acorns and Threads has a fabric area in the normal part of their shop. During special shop events, they open up the annex, which is their classroom next to the shop, and then they have tables of fabric. And so I immediately, when I went into the shop, I didn't even look at the stuff that was over where the normal fabric stuff was, because I've kind of looked through that and bought a bunch of stuff this summer. So I was like, I'll just take a chance. I'm not missing anything. I went into the annex. There was Atomic Ranch. There's some barefoot needle arts, which I'll show in a minute. And so Into the Woods, which is a dark green. It's kind of almost the same as this one, except that this one's a lot lighter and a lot greener, and this is a lot darker. With the navy model really adds dark color to it. So yeah, Into the Woods. This is 36 count Lugana, and the last 2 years I've stitched on everything, and I really don't have a preference. I like 36 count, I like 32 count, and 40 counts a bit too much for my eyes. I try not to do, this is 28 count, this is linen, and this is Honeydew Spritz, which is exactly honeydew color. And so, and this was a good chunk, 26 by 35 chunk of fabric. And I'm sure I will find tons of spring things and summer things to put on this. And then Raspberry Swirl. This is 28 count linen. And it's just really pretty. And so then I went over to another section, another table, and picked up 32 count linen, barefoot needle art. This is Purple Rain, and it's gray and purple. And so you can see the modeling on that. And then this is also barefoot needle art. This is Marsh Walk, and this is 36 count linen. And I have tried in the last few months, I have a number of nautical patterns in my stash, and you know, I hate neutrals. I will, this is my vow, I will never stitch on vintage country mocha. Never, never. There's probably a few other neutrals that it's never going to happen. And so I've been trying to think of things that would look good stitching nautical things, and this is probably more brown in it than green, and it's kind of a kind of a sea green. So this might work for some nautical patterns. So that was what I got from the fabric, and I just go for fabric. I don't really buy much of anything else. I have my Acorns and Threads coupon book, which this Saturday, if I'm up for it, if I'm not infectious, I will go to the shop and I will use my thread coupon. I have a whole list of things, so this is kind of funny. When I was in line to get to the cash register, and since I only got fabric, I kind of went not to the head of the line, of course, but I got into a short line for the cash register. And but next to the register, there was some extra stuff that I hadn't seen before, and it was Adventure Sampler Kit, and this is some 36 count linen that's cut and serged for that particular piece. It is a camo, autumn camo color, which I think is great. Adventure Sampler is from Sambry Stitches. I'll probably have to put a picture of it up. And it came with all of these Stitch Me silks to stitch it with. And I have it. I've had it for a couple of years. I haven't kitted it up, but I was like, hey, this is something I have. And it was funny because one of the salespeople says to me, Robin, don't you need the pattern? And I'm like, no, I got it in my stash at home. I already got it. I bought it a couple of years ago. So this was great. This is like the version of candy in the checkout aisle. So that was my haul from stuff I got from the shop. And so now I'm gonna, like, you've seen these two bags, and I just want to talk about the bags for a minute. Last year we had Teresa Kogut and Beth Twist doing the patterns, the presentation, and they collaborated on a piece that you could make singly or as a larger sampler piece. And then they also collaborated on Biscornu. And they had these cloth bags, and that Beth Twist, I think, had put a stamp on it. And so this was really nice and environmentally friendly. And so I think maybe that might become a thing to continue. Artsy Housewife Gigi and Avlia Folk Embroidery Krista, they went kind of all in. I mean, we got so much stuff, and I was telling Janine, I was like, this is a lot. And she was like, yeah. So if you've seen these patterns before, you can probably see them again. So this was the small piece, which is by Moonlight, and it's a couple crows or blackbirds. Yeah, could be either one, but I think they're supposed to be crows. And then this one is Brambling Hill, and this is actually, I believe Gigi was saying, it's a European bird that she found, but its colors were perfect for the the autumnal theme. And so this is a larger piece. This is 133 by 159 stitches, and this smaller piece is 93 by 101 stitches. And this was stitched 1/2, and this is 2, I think this was 2/2. And I really like this one. I like both of them. And so she and Boone, her spouse, they sourced this linen. And so I don't know what this is. I asked Janine if she could find out. I haven't heard anything, but then I've been out of pocket. And then they gave us Weeks Dye Works flosses. And like you can see, this is all autumnal, very much autumnal themed, and beautiful. So I'm continuing my tradition of never starting a pinwheel project, third year in a row. And I do want to start Satsuma Street Falling Leaves, because I have my copy of that project from 23 and someone else's that decided they didn't want to do it. And I was like, I want to do this because I want a new couch, and it would match the new couch that I'm envisioning in my head. And then Krista, and so Krista, she's talking to me the night before. She's talking to all of us the night before because she got there Thursday night, and she's local. She lives in Sisters, Oregon, and she was living in Salem, Oregon, and that's where I first saw her patterns, was in a knitting shop. And then later I was like, oh, and I went to the open house that they had for her at Acorns and Threads, and I was there fairly early in the morning, and nobody really had talked to her much or had talked to her. And so I talked to her, and we had a really great conversation about gifting and how she would stitch up the vestments for the clergy in her when she was doing Greek Orthodox vestments. She would stitch those up, send them across the world, and never see them again. And I've stitched so many things that, but she remembered that I had been working on some towels for a wedding gift when she met me. And I was like, I was? And I was like, oh yeah, I was, because, Tasha got married that year, and some other people got married that year. So it was like, she remembered the project I was working on more than I had, and she was talking to me about it at Pinwheel, and I was like, but I also know she was nervous about that meet and greet, and and just being friendly with somebody and talking with them and having things in common. I guess it made an impression, and I was really touched. So, all right, so she gave us some floss drops. She gave us a bit kit, which is little leaves, which I think this is one of the patterns that was in here. And when she gives these bit kits, she puts all the flosses, but she also puts in this this fabric, and the fabric that she puts in her kits, and in these exclusives for Pinwheel, this is sourced from Greece, and it's traditional cloth for doing their kinds of embroidery. And so this piece can be a table runner, or it can be on the wall. And shoot, that reminds me, I was going to show something with it. So I'm going to stop right here and come back in a sec. Okay, so I'm back. So, she's talking about this being a traditional design. Greece, like many other places, has a really strong textile art tradition, and these designs from the textiles are like, they're in the pavement, they're on the walls, and you go talk to somebody about, and say, hey, I stitch too, or I do this kind of stuff, and they're like, at least Krista's experiences, they're like showing you photos off their phone. They're calling their grandma over to talk to you. You know, they're opening their home to you, because this is not something that they get from typical tourists, is interest in fiber arts. And so when I saw this, I have been to Greece myself for a short visit. It was, you know, doing a lot of the touristy things, but the first few days we were in Greece, we were in Athens, and I found a shop that sold icons. This is a Byzantine style icon with gold leaf. I bought 4 of them, and then I had to carry them around the rest of my vacation in a suitcase. But this is baptism of Christ. And I thought, wow, look at the blue in there. Look at the blue in here. And I've got these hanging in a sequence on my wall. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to need to figure out where on the wall her thing is going to go when I stitch it. Because it's going to go near this, so you can have the experience. And so I have this one, which is the baptism by John the Baptist of Christ. And then Christ coming into Jerusalem, where they're laying the palms, and he's riding the donkey or the colt, depending on what you want to translate from New Testament. And then, oh boy, they're dusty. So I knew there was going to be some dust on this. So, and then the next scene that I have is the Last Supper, and then finally the Crucifixion, which also has some blue in it. So again, these are all Byzantine style. The Russian iconographs or iconology, they're more like sad, like weepy, and muted colors. They're Byzantine, they're busy, and so I like that about them. And so I bought 4 in the style in that sequence. So that, and you know, she was on her website. Apparently she gives hints about, you know, like when you're in Greece, how you talk to a local about embroidery and fiber arts, and that there are these little handmade shops. And so she gives translations of how to ask in Greece, where's the handmade shop? And because they will show you, they'll take you there. And then there were some other things too. There was a needle minder, and I didn't want to open this yet. There's a pattern here that is a free pattern, I believe. And then there's another pattern that you can basically embroider the design on the front of the bag, if you want to. So it was just sort of like a lot. And just, I mean, they're both such sweet people. That's the thing about Pinwis, is that you have these designers that give you their time, but they also they're there the whole weekend, you know, and you can talk to them and ask them questions and share stories with them. And it was just, okay, so, you know, it's Saturday, and I'm starting to feel not well, and because my throat was getting tickly, and we were gonna go to the shop, and maybe this was Friday. I don't remember now if it was Friday or Saturday. So I went out in the hall next to where the coffee and water was, and I went up to this man, and, you know, I'm sitting with a man at my table who's, you know, has a short beard, he's bald, he's got glasses, he's doing cross stitch, and so I go up to the window, and I start talking to this man who's bald, who has a short beard and glasses, and the sun's right in my eyes. And I start talking to him about, like, hey, are we gonna go to the shop, or, you know, what are we gonna do for dinner, you know, something like that. And then I realized I'm not talking to my stitchy friend Ben, I'm talking to Boone, Gigi's husband. And then I realized this, and I was apologizing, and I said, yeah, well, the guy at my table, he's middle-aged, bald, and has a beard, and he does cross stitch. She goes, there's more than one of them here? Like, because apparently Boone does cross stitch, and he's done some model stitching and trying stitching out with Gigi and her designs. So anyway, I don't think I knew that, and this must have been Friday night, because I didn't know that he did that until Saturday when they did their presentation. So anyway, all right, so the next and final piece of this long is all the gifts. Okay, this is bag one. Okay, oh, so this was one of the swag from the well, this big thing was also swag from, I call it swag, it's the stuff the shop gives us. And so this is a tray that you can snap together to give it edges, or you can lay it flat, and it has a zipper in the middle, so it's becomes sort of a project bag too. You can just put stuff in there, fold it up, snap it up, and walk off. And so this was part of what we were given with this big project bag, which I'm not sure I'm going to use as a project bag. I only have one project that has a giant hoop that would really work for this. I might use it for storing fabric in or something. So what was funny is Connie and Janet, okay, at beach retreats, they were across the table from me. At this retreat, I sat between them, and so I got to know them both much better than I did at the beach retreat. And so, we're playing around with this, and Janine is telling us what to do with the snaps. This is a take and make project, and so Connie's looking at my thing, which was teal blue, and kind of almost like the color of this. A little bit more teal than this medium blue. But so she's looking longingly at my teal blue thing. And I don't like blue. It's not my color. I like pink and purple. And so she's like, I really like that color a lot better. Would you trade with me? And I'm like, yes, of course I will. I don't like blue. I love purple. So we happily traded each other. So, anyway, yeah, I don't even know all what, oh, this is something that Lisa made for us as a table gift, along with the scissor fob. And she also had some craft highlighter tape. So that was a table gift. And I think this was an acorns and threads thing that was in the bag. I'm sure people who've been to Pinwist are yelling at me now. And oh, good. This is the chicken thingy. Okay, so some people were saying that they got these little chickens, and so anyway, I got one too. I know when I was watching Carolyn Zook, and she showed her chicken and like was talking about it, and I was like, oh, that looks so familiar. So another thing we got in our project bag is we got 3 skeins of Pirate Robin's flosses, and everybody liked mine the best because I got 3 skeins of fall colors, and everybody wanted to trade me. And Ben lucked out because I like red, and I also have been shopping different blacks for a project that I want to do. And So I said, I'm sorry, everyone, but Ben's got the colors of things that I've actually looked to purchase from her. So yeah, so that was like part of the swag from Acorns and Threads. And oh, there was another, I think, is it Mama Bear Stitches? Anyway, she did these little Highland cattle adoption. And you know, some of this stuff I probably wouldn't have got. Yeah. But you know, I had table gifts, and oh, this was our swag, our needle fob that we got this year from Pinwis, and the take and make was basically take the lobster claw and then put it on the zipper here. And I thought I wanted to put this on something else, so I didn't do that. And oh boy, Willow's getting interested. So, oh hey, good, some toffee. Although I'm not interested in eating it at the moment. Oh, I forgot scissor. There was. Oh, yes. I think when I gave, I had brought these little bag clips, which were woodland creatures, and I figured that would be popular. I like woodland creatures in the wild. I like to see them in the wild. Oh, she's seeing the threads on that. She's right there. And so, but I'm not really big on stitching them. So, oh, and then this was a table gift. So we get to pick a little frog. So I got the one with the little inner tube. And Willow's like, there's lots of stuff I want to explore. Oh, and then we got some scissors as a table gift at our table. And so, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. I'm not sure. Yeah, next year I want to get something like this that has, yeah, introvert willing to talk about cross stitch, which this is her YouTube handle, and this is carries so many stitches. So I need to check all these people I got stuff from. It's like I need to check them out now. I have a huge list of floss tubes that, you know, the algorithm never wants to give you. And so, I think this was another table gift. And so I had done table gifts for, oh yeah, this was a VFW post person who, she gave us a really nice, like, silver thing last year. And this is like a nice, like, bracelet scissor fob. And then I got some stuff from Sailing Mary Stitchers in here that I'm not gonna get out and show. I can't remember if this was actually in our bag. I'm sure people who were there are yelling at me. I think part of it is I was just so out of it with the pain from the dental surgery, and then when I got home and I had COVID and I was like, okay, I can't even think about this. I put everything in a corner and I didn't touch it until like now, when I think that I'm not going to be contaminating things. And yeah, I haven't even opened. This is from Kara, one of the Sailing Mary Stitchers. I haven't even opened this. And her sister Nan, who gave us, gave us this, which is a needle minder and floss ring. And oh, who gave us that? Oh, this was the take and make from last year, which I need to put back on my shelf. this was from Elise. And so, and I am so sorry, I don't remember who gave me this. But I haven't even opened it yet. So, all right, so finally I'm down to the rest of the stuff in the bag. Oh, and then Margaret, who runs the Acorns and Threads Zoom Stitch and their Facebook page, gave us one of her pins. And trying to dig out the stuff from the free table. Ugh. Oh, the other thing I got that someone gave me as I was handing out my table gifts, because I brought special gifts for the people at my table and for the Salem area Stitchers, but then Mark and I put together some candy in a bag, and so we had some chocolate and we had some Smarties, and we put 7 pieces of chocolate and 7 pieces of Smarties because 7 people were at each table. And I think we made 230 tables, but I don't think there were that many tables. And so every table got them, and I had 2 left over. It was like, okay, great, I'll give these to my table and the Salem area Stitcher tables that I had given them other things. So, yeah, so there were a lot of things like this thing, which was from Becky's House of Sewing, which I thought was amazing. And just taking some cord and then stitching it. I think Cynthia's a Bend teaches you how to do some stuff like this. I've seen classes at her shop where they teach stuff like that. So, all right. So finally, the free table. And and I know I got a little something from Gloria, who, okay. That was like the Smalls Exchange tab that came with the bag. So, so I know that there were some people that were giving out little things like this for doing your frogging, and then other things that people gave me from the Salem area Stitchers and other people I knew from around. And so, but the table gift, like I say, I made candy, and then I handed them out, and I said, my husband put this to, my spouse put this together because last year he had so much fun with me making the table gifts. So he asked to do it this year. And everybody was just like, what? He did? We're so excited. But he really did. And when I got home, I said something about that, and he goes, well, he saw my to-do list, and he knew I was working extra hours so I could take less vacation time, which is pretty much gone now that I've been sick so much. And mail in there. Putting things that you don't need to see back in the bag. The project that I didn't get to work on this weekend, or last weekend. And so I showed you the little mushroom things, and then one of my friends had sort of a D-stash, and I think this might have been in her D-stash, or else it was on the free table. So this is Little House Needle Works, and it's a punch needle design that's autumn, and I've been wanting to do punch needles. So, and then I also picked this up off the free table. I may actually have this one. I picked it up because on the back was a giraffe, and I thought if my friend Tammy didn't have it, I would give it to her because she does needlepoint and she loves giraffes. And I always like the pickup truck. I'm not like a big one of those. I kind of like the antique pickup trucks. But my big haul from the free table was a pristine copy of State Flower Borders. The one that I have, same one as this one from Leisure Arts, it is falling apart. And this is a pristine, you know, maybe never been used, because it is so, there's no creases, there's no nothing. It's been sitting somewhere, you know, and it was on the free table, and this is something that I had actually thought, man, I wish I could find another one of these, because mine's falling apart, and I really would like to like take mine apart, make a notebook of, make a Xerox, color Xeroxes of all the patterns, and then make a notebook and put them in sheet protectors so I don't have to have it fall apart and then, or get so I can't read it anymore. And so this is a pristine one. So I have this pristine one so that, you know, this is my backup now. And so that was the big find from the free table for me, was, you know, something that I use all the time for making wedding gifts. And I was just like, where did this come from? Because it'd just been like a month or 2 or 3 ago, I was thinking, you know, this thing's starting to fall apart, and oh man, maybe I should go on eBay and find one. And I got that on the free table. So now I do have 1 or 2 things that are at people's houses still, like the I put the night bib onto the brag table, and then I got so sick that I forgot that I didn't take it off the brag table before I left. I was really trying to get in there. I had like a lamp and like a bottle of water or something waiting at my table, so I couldn't just go. I had to go into the ballroom and pick up my stuff, which wasn't much stuff because I'd kind of cleaned out the night before. And when I travel, sometimes I do try and like repack or pre-pack, so I have things really fairly organized so that when it's time to check out, I'm out, or I don't have to spend time packing. Then I can check out when I can sleep in and check out. So so I think that's all, and that's been a lot, and this has been like an hour and 25 minutes or so. So maybe I'll try and edit some. But anyway, thank you for suffering through with me. And next time I hope I can show you some more whips. I hope I can get a finish on that April Showers cat. And it's been really easy to stitch because each part is like a block of color, and there's no tweeted threads. It's just been super quick. So anyway, all right. So anyway, I'll see you in closer probably to 3 weeks, I think, by the next time I film something. So thank you very much, and this may take a few days to get out, so stay safe and be healthy. You know, Oregon had, like, the COVID numbers were going through the roof, like around Labor Day or before Labor Day, from what I've seen from our wastewater reports, which they used to like broadcast, and now they don't anymore, which irritates me. But so we're getting over it. It's taken a while, and you know, I know what my limitations were, and so I was really trying not to push myself and do what I could do so I could breathe the best, so I didn't have to go to the hospital this weekend. And oh, one last thing, shoot, and now I think I might have, here it is. The other thing I did, I went to, which I've mentioned a couple times, I went to, okay, I keep forgetting, Harvest Moon Hangout, and I saw all the presentations and thoroughly enjoyed them, and I've actually met Anne at the shop, it actually went to I think a class with Jeanette Douglas with her. And so I've met her once, and so anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed the 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 silk dyeing. I thought that was very, but then, I'm a scientist by training, so this was all, it's like, yeah, cool chemistry, yeah. Oh yeah, of course this fiber acts this way. Yeah. So anyway, I did get the exclusive pumpkin party from Lola Crow. This is very similar to the raccoon and squirrels and crows that were in what was it? Acorns and Friends, which was our exclusive for the mini retreat for this year. So yeah, so I also there was a set of Halloween pins from Poutini, which was exclusive to the Harvest Moon Hangout. I bought those too. That'll be shipping from Lindy Stitches. So anyway, yeah, so I did take it easy, watching things and not, I did stitch one evening, and but yeah, still trying to take it easy. So yeah. All right. So yes, I don't see anything else around me that I haven't talked about. So thank you very much for sticking out with me. Thank you so much for, I've had some new subscribers. Thank you very much for signing up, and I'll try and mention that at the beginning of the video next time. So, and it was fun to meet people. And this, for the second year in a row, someone came to me during the retreat and said, thank you so much for doing PNWSS videos, because I knew exactly what to expect and how things would happen. And it made me so much more relaxed and calm about the weekend. And, that's, that's kind of, I taught science and I did public health education type stuff. And so that's great. I like to hear that feedback, and I will try to do more of that if I can. I mean, certainly the beach retreat coming up in April, I can, I don't even think I talked about that last year, but that was because it was brand new. We didn't even know what to expect. Now we do know what to expect. So anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you in at least 2 to 3 weeks.